This rivalry between Yuji and Sukuna does not disappoint. We have the Jujutsu sorcerers all putting their lives on the line just to stop the menacing threat that is Sukuna. But no matter how hard they try, Sukuna seems to just chop each and every single one of them down, one by one. Higuruma is Sukuna's latest victim, but Higuruma's life is not going to waste. He's shown such impressive skill that Sukuna has expressed his respect for Higuruma. Now, respect from Sukuna means a lot, but it means you're also probably about to end up in the afterlife. RIP Higuruma. But as the battle between Higuruma and Sukuna looks to come to an end, Yuji jumps back into the fray with what might be a new ability that we haven't seen before. Now, before we get into it, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know you're rocking with the video and helps to get out to more people like you. Also, be sure to smash that subscribe button and stay up to date with all the new Jujutsu Kaisen videos. With that being said, let's get back to it. What's happening, man? It's different JJK reviews with some different Jujutsu Kaisen reviews. And today we gotta jump into a crazy potential reveal with Yuji in the latest chapter. But before all of that, let's recap with chapter 246. Higuruma had just caught Sukuna's domain expansion, and his domain was a success. Well, slightly. The sorcerers had planned to confiscate Sukuna's curse technique with Higuruma's domain, but rather they managed to confiscate Sukuna's cursed weapon. Now, once out of the domain, Sukuna immediately let off his slash attacks. But through this, Higuruma managed to defend himself by using domain amplification. Kusakabe also did similar and managed to defend himself by using his simple domain. This is pretty incredible because we haven't seen really much characters at all be able to defend themselves against Sukuna's cleave and dismantle. There might be Gojo and maybe Maharaga, who's able to adapt to all phenomenon. So seeing the sorcerers step up and be able to defend here goes crazy. Sukuna at this point notices that all of the sorcerers have leveled up their cursed energy fundamentals. The battle is really on now. Kusakabe then assesses that Sukuna happened to not use his slashes that cut through the world itself, the attack that was able to kill Gojo even with his limitless and infinity. He then figures that this is because of maybe a binding vow or a time restriction with the technique. He also recognizes that he hasn't even used the fire arrow that he used to kill the special great spirit Jogo. This is interesting because either of these techniques would make light work of all of the sorcerers that he's fighting right now. But there's not too much time to think because Chozo joins the fight and sends a piercing blood straight at Sukuna, and piercing blood goes crazy fast, but not faster than Sukuna. Sukuna immediately disappears, dashing right in front of Chozo and sends Chozo flying back. We then see Chozo spitting up blood. The battle keeps going on and Ino joins, shiesty mask on and everything. We also see him holding Nanami's cursed tool, and then he sends an attack flying straight at Sukuna. Now Sukuna is able to defend and block this attack, but it does way more damage than Sukuna expected. Sukuna then notices that it likely has the properties of Nanami's curse technique to be dealing a critical hit. And now I just gotta say, that's actually pretty fire. Long live Nanami, but his curse technique was crazy, so the fact that he has that embedded into a cursed weapon is all the more hype. But Sukuna's not really worried about this. He then kicks Ino right out the fight. And then Sukuna starts making a dash towards Higuruma to then be challenged by Itadori. And Yuji Itadori is one of the fastest characters in the series. But again, Sukuna don't care. He just speeds up and beats Yuji over to Higuruma.
I'm fast. I'm fast as fuck.
Trapping Higuruma in practically a corner. At this point, Sukuna sends his slash attacks over to Higuruma to be shocked that Higuruma was able to nullify this complete technique. And this was because Higuruma ended up using his domain amplification. Now this is crazy. Higuruma became an awakened sorcerer about just 2 months ago. And at the speed that he's developed, his understanding of cursed energy is insane. All of the sorcerers and even Sukuna at this point recognize Higuruma's genius. But now we're finding out the plan that the Jujutsu sorcerers have in store in order to defeat Sukuna.
Oh shit, where's Megumi?
And save Megumi, with one of the key players in this plan being none other than Higuruma. The sorcerer's plan in rescuing Megumi lies in Higuruma's domain expansion, Deadly Sentencing. Inside Higuruma's domain, the Shikigami Judgeman passes judgment on his enemies. If the enemy receives the death sentence, they face Curse Technique Confiscation, and Higuruma gets the Executioner Sword. This sword has the ability to kill any enemy in a single touch. The catch here is that in Sukuna's case, where 2 souls reside in the same body, the sentencing will only apply to the convict and not the other soul. This means that Judgment can distinguish between multiple souls within a single vessel's body, and if the Executioner Sword hits Sukuna, it will only affect Sukuna, keeping Megumi alive. And now we're entering the moment where Higuruma pulls forward the Executioner Sword, ready to face off head and head against Sukuna. Now let's go over the big events in chapter 247. It's Higuruma versus Sukuna, and I hate to say it, but as incredible as Higuruma is, he's up against Sukuna, so this battle ain't looking good for him, man. This chapter starts with Sukuna analyzing Higuruma's cursed energy capabilities and says that it's mad impressive. Higuruma's understanding of cursed energy is at a level that's comparable to even Sukuna's. That's crazy, man. Now this is so impressive that Sukuna even asked Higuruma for his name to give him his proper respect. This is kind of like Thanos to Iron Man in the Avengers movie.
You have my respect, Stark.
Or like how Sukuna did Jogo. From here, Yuji attempts to catch Sukuna lacking with a surprise attack, but Sukuna stops all that real quick, unleashing a barrage of slashing attacks right onto Itadori's torso, sending him flying right off the panels. Sukuna criticizes Yuji for being dull and uninteresting, and then continues to effortlessly fend off Higuruma's attacks with the Executioner Sword, and follows up with a counter attack, punching Higuruma right in the face. Sukuna then lets off a dismantle, striking Higuruma and cutting off his right arm. Sukuna urges Higuruma to heal with reverse curse technique if he can. Sukuna then proceeds to cut off Higuruma's remaining arm, pushing him once more to use reverse curse technique, because if not now, Sukuna will finish him.
Fatality.
Higuruma contemplates his fate, showing his belief that he's willing to die in order to fulfill his role in life as a Jujutsu sorcerer. As this goes on, a sudden piercing blood attack lands right on Sukuna out of nowhere. Sukuna recognizes this as Chozo's technique, but considering this came from a range that's out of the panel, there's more than a fair chance this may actually be one of Yuji's attacks from far out. Now back to Higuruma, and he's already managed to use reverse curse technique.
Perfect.
Right on the verge of death, he ultimately regenerated his arms. Higuruma then aims to immediately stab Sukuna with the Executioner Sword, all this while Sukuna was distracted, and Higuruma seemingly succeeds, stabbing Sukuna in his hand. Despite attempting to stab Sukuna's hand, Sukuna preemptively severed it right before Higuruma was able to land the strike.
Got him! Got him!
Sukuna gives Higuruma some props, saying nice shot my guy, but then dices him up with dismantle. As Higuruma is falling to the floor, he tosses the Executioner Sword right towards Sukuna's back. Yuji then shows up behind Sukuna and grabs the Executioner Sword, ready to end things. As Yuji's going for the strike, he has a flashback to Nanami's final words saying, "You've got it from here," entrusting Yuji with this final task. Now grabbing the Executioner Sword, Yuji fiercely swings the blade towards Sukuna, aiming for a finishing blow and ending the chapter. Now with all of this, I think the events in this chapter were crazy. But I do think it's pretty unlikely that Yuji will actually land the finishing blow here on Sukuna. As I continue to say, Sukuna loves the sport of fight and has continued to be agile and steps ahead against all of his ops. You really can't catch him lacking. He's more than likely going to juke this move by Yuji and end up attacking Yuji. Now I imagine the other sorcerers are likely to jump into this fight right from here. That, or maybe we swap fights and jump into the Hakari versus Uraume battle. Now with all that being said, what do you think will happen next? Is this the end of Higuruma, or will Maki and Yuta go ahead and join the fight? Go ahead and drop that in the comments below. And with that being said, if you liked the video, be sure to smash that like button. Also be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with new chapter reviews coming out every week. Perfect. And with that being said, right here is a video that YouTube thinks you're gonna love. Be sure to check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.